maybe this comes off when I don't want it to. If you ever need to take any of your Ryobi things apart, it's a T15. These from Harbor Freight are great. T15 for most Ryobi stuff that I've seen. Just gonna try to take this apart and see if there is I think there's a filter in here. Could look at the directions, but I'm just gonna go for it. Sometimes it'll cut out. So blower is what I'm working on. It's more exciting this way. Just take it apart without consulting the instruction book. Magnetic T15 is pretty nice. Then you definitely have to have one of these. It's a magnetic thing. This is a Husky one. Just got it from Harbor Freight. Let's see what I'm actually working on. As a kid, I would take a lot of things apart. Now I'm just better at putting them back together. That wasn't the case when I was a kid. It's kind of slow on picking up the mechanical stuff, I'd say. Now I really enjoy it. Hey, True Grant. Hi, okay. Love it. Probably kind of do these in order. The other thing I've noticed with a lot of Ryobi stuff, it's a lot of the same size screw, which is nice. You don't really have to keep things separated. That one seems like it got rounded out at the factory because I have never taken this apart. That's going to be an issue. Well, we will see. Something's not quite apart. So I noticed if some are rounded out like with the T13 head, sometimes if it's rounded out a little, you can get it out with a 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench. So I'm going to try that. With these, just using some Irwin. With these, a lot of times, it's a lot easier to strip the threads than it is to round out the screw, because you're always going into plastic with these little tools. So we'll see if this works. I'll get a better look at this. Nope. So, I need a flashlight. I actually got these at Tractor Supply. They had some of my local Tractor Supply. They were getting rid of a bunch of stuff, and they had this Job Smart stuff. And this was $15, and I did see it there for $15. So it's not just a, trick on the price tag. And then it was $11.99, but they were getting rid of everything in those little bins up front for like 50% off. Not everything, but most of it. So I got these two little 300 lumen LED flashlights for like $5.99, and I've used them before. They're really good. I just like to have these things everywhere. I'm gonna use one of those. See if we can see what's actually going on in here. I don't know if how good this will show up. Jeez. So, yeah, it's rounded out. Like from the factory, just rounded out like crazy. Why don't you drill it out? Weird. Try again. And just little edge. Be good. Hi, Serg. Hi, Pete. Oh, man. Dang. Truthfully, well, it looks like I actually need to get all of these off, so that is going to be a problem. Looks like I might have to drill that out. Let's do it. And I had my drill bits out. There they go. So, let's see if this works. Let's go with this. It's like a 3/32. Might work. Not big enough. Hold on. see if this works. I even had enough for it. Kind of mash a T20 in there and pull it out. Nope. I thought maybe it was rounded out at top. If I could kind of get this, like maybe it's not rounded out all the way at the end. And sometimes if you can drill out just a little bit, then you can catch those catch it in the end with like a T15. I don't think that's going to be the case here. Thanks for all the hearts coming through. Awesome. That's not going to be the case. Don't want to mess up my T15 because I love that thing. All right. Let's just totally drill it out. On 7/64. Yesterday I did a short on my Ryobi weed eater. It was gummed up really bad. It had some of these heavy, I can't think of what kind of, it's like a vine that I got wrapped around it. Then there was just so much junk in the motor, and sometimes I'd be weed eating and I'd think that it's like, man, it's dusty, but it was actually smoking. And one time it started on fire at the end because there was all this dry grass in there, and then the motor would get hot. I was like, that is not good. So took that thing apart, the head of it anyway, and got it all cleaned out. Looks kind of brand new. Even saving the stickers from it. True Grant, you got a YouTube. Cool. What kind of stuff do you put on there? Let's go. All right, here we go. Probably just won't be, I don't know, I'll have to see what I can put in there now. So I really just kind of eliminated that screw in there, but I think it's still stuck on the edges. Oh yeah. I don't know, I'll probably just put something bigger in there. So there's one side. Here's what it looks like inside. Most of the time I will like take pictures. I take stuff apart, especially when you're talking about like routing these things. Sometimes like they have that routed, you know, just in the right way to account for all the length of it. Here's that one I just drilled out, so I'll have to mess with that. Okay, let's see. So that just slides off. There's these little grooves. Might be able to do this without, oh yeah, so that came off. It's kind of a funnel where I think it goes up in here and builds pressure up in there. Blades, not too bad. But for some reason, this thing will like cut in and out. And I don't know if it's something, some of these actually have like a filter type thing on them. I don't believe this one does, but let's see what the problem is. So, well, this does not split apart. I think to get this out, I'll probably have to disconnect from the top part. If I want to do that. can't remember if I have any more of those, you know, connectors, put up wires. So if I do, I'll have to be careful with these so I can reuse them. Actually, now that I have this apart, I don't really see anything that would be keeping it up. It's not dirty like the weed eater was, so I might just kind of clean out this motor a little bit. Because it is kind of gummed up here on the end. That could be it. Motors are pretty tough, and they get a lot of this is an 18 volt, so it gets pretty good amount of power. And I wonder, oh, that's a big hunk of stuff coming out of there. So I had some stuff kind of stuck around here. That would definitely impede the movement. That could have been it. It's pretty easy to take apart, so instead of like digging into it more, I'd probably just kind of go with this and see what happened. It was kind of like almost looked like it was a little piece of stick that must have came on the intake. Maybe when I laid this thing down, like, might as well clean these out while I'm at it. On the intake, it might have just, you know, sucked a piece of that stick in there. Because whenever I take something apart, I definitely do try to clean whatever's around there anyway. It's kind of one of those while you're in there things. Do that a lot with any of my tools or my mowers. I think I might just go with this. Oh yeah. And my airbrush out, but it's like put a bunch of stuff in front of it. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's way better. Nice and clean now. Might just go with that. Just check these wires too. Not like a battery thing, you know, because these batteries are kind of like you either have power or you don't. What it'll do is sometimes I'm using it, and this is just, you know, one setting on this thing. It's just, you know, kind of the trigger pull here with how much power it goes. So what it'll do is I'll be using it, and then it will just kind of cut out. So, no, it's not like a connection thing. So you just squeeze that, and then it goes with the power and just kind of determines how strong you're blowing. But when it's not working, you know, or when it kind of goes almost like it sounds like it has a lower mode, is when I have this pulled all the way down, and it will, you know, it'll just kind of go, like cut out really. Hey, True, yeah, I kind of like fixing stuff. Not even close to any professional, or I don't do it for money. It's just kind of my own stuff. And I think some of it is that kind of refuse to let a tool die, because partly I don't want to buy a new one. And so I like Ryobi stuff. I don't have to really fix it. It's just little things sometimes like this. And I will not refuse to let something die. I mean, I'm not going to spend more on it if I ever needed a part than it would to buy a new one. But But yeah, little things like this. I mean, these are pretty simple little machines. You know, this is just Ryobi 18 volt blower. It's a P21081. So part of the reason too, and all this with drills and stuff, it's like, you know, they'll switch batteries. That's kind of annoying. So you know how the battery works, whatever. Then eventually you can usually get adapters. But I have a bunch of 18 volt stuff, and I want to make the 18 volt stuff because I have so many batteries, 18 volt batteries, because you know sometimes they come with batteries, sometimes they, or you can get like a good deal on batteries. So the next step of this would be to go to like Ryobi 40 volt stuff, which I'll probably eventually do, because for my push mower, anyway, like I think it'd be kind of cool. I'd be interested in one of those 40 volt mowers. So then I'll probably have some 40 volt stuff, and then it'll be like, if I need a new blower, I'll be like, I might as well get the 40 volt. So we'll see. That'll probably eventually happen. So this is a cone that goes in there. The point on it, I think it kind of just maybe builds up the air in there, or it kind of goes in there and goes to the point, some more pressure. So yeah, I think I'll just put this thing back together and see how we're looking. I'll have to see how important it is that I get that screw hole that I drilled out in there. So this, it's like these little teeth or whatever, just go back in here. It's like the wires route there. Let's see, where was that? It was right here. Dang, like fumbled. Oh, I see. This has this little tooth right up here at the top, goes right in there. Watch these wires. Okay, got that back in. Let's see. These just kind of tuck in, it looks like. You know, this is one of those places where, like normally if I wasn't using my phone for the live, like I would just take a picture to see exactly what it was supposed to look like when I took it apart. That was the problem when I was a little kid. You know, I would take something apart and like you would open it up and a bunch of gears or things would fall out. And I didn't know, I couldn't remember what it looked like before. Then I kind of started drawing some diagrams. So that was good. But you know, that was back in the day when there wasn't just a phone to take a quick picture of. So I'm gonna try to get this one. I'm guessing it was kind of tucked in behind here, just like the black one was. So figure that out. Look at these. Maybe just flat, like this. Usually isn't too hard to work on stuff like this. Only work well. That'll lay flat. Good enough right there. We'll see. The only issue is this little piece needs to fit in here, so it appears that just kind of the indentations on the wire that it slides over it. So Should make that work. Quite a few little things to line up there. Pretty good. Something's kind of catching though. Not fully on there. What is it? Probably something to do with that wire. I'm not fumbling. Let's try this again. Should be enough room for that wire connector to lay down in there. Oh, there we go. Good. And you can see it's like lined up here. This will come together when we, there we go. So now, put these in. I guess I could kind of test it out right now. Well, it's blowing. Yeah, I can tell that's already better because it's, you know, it just holds that steady, that strong stream. So now, throw these back in, put this piece back in. Oh, I forgot this. This actually has a part. You have to have this split a little bit so it can go in right here. Kind of splits, and so this little piece needs to be back behind here, so you could have that split a little bit. Or just all the way split. There you go. See, it's kind of the end part of that channel. The whole thing has to go through there. So now I've got to work this in again. It kind of goes over that channel. It's a pretty good lock because it locks it in. That is definitely not coming off of there. There we go. Now snap together. Now start putting these back in. I'll go ahead and do this in a little more order this time. I'm not hunting around. A lot of people out walking today. A lot of people by my place. It's pretty nice out. Kind of cooling off a little bit. A little cold front in the Midwest. That's been nice. Get that time of year where you can start planting grass, overseeding some areas, planting some all new grass in a lot of other areas. In. I said I was going to go in order, but sometimes when you're tightening things up, it's kind of good to, you know, just like if you were putting a wheel on a car, Kind of do it like a star pattern to make sure it's tightening evenly. So I'm doing that a little bit. Can be important when you're taking stuff off too, especially if something's under a lot of pressure. Kind of do that star pattern. Just make sure something doesn't snap, especially if you're working with plastic, like a lot of these type of things. Almost got this tightened back up. Sometimes this is the part when I get it all back together and there is a part missing. I don't think that's going to be, or a part left out. I don't think that's going to be the case with this. To do what I had to do, actually, didn't have to take a whole lot apart. Be careful when you're tightening things up with plastic that you're not going to strip it out, because they'll strip out pretty easily, especially when you're using like one of these ends on something like this. So T15 end, you get a lot of torque with those, more torque than you want with plastic. At the same time, it does kind of give you a pretty good feel on it, so you got a good indication of how tight you are getting. Alright, and as for that one that I drilled out, I'll just kind of leave it for now. I think it'll be okay. And not upside down. What's right? That. Two more screws here on the bottom that just kind of hold this sleeve in here. Train coming through. All right, I think we're good. That motor cleaned up. Final check. Took me a little while to know for sure because it's intermittent when it would have that issue. Oh yeah, got that knocked out. Trying to get way better at putting my tools back right away when I'm done using them, because that way I'm not searching for stuff if it is where it's supposed to be. Sometimes with tools you need them immediately. So put all these back. Oh, man, you know what? There's that part. I forgot to put this in. Damn. That was a dumb move. Huh. That's where it would be good to have like a ton of viewers that could let you know, like, hey, you forgot to put a part in. Yeah, goes right there. You can actually just see the motor right there. Oh well. No time like the present. Yeah, I don't think there's any. Yeah, I might not have to take it all the way apart. See what we can do. Let's get a little pressure off of it from these two. It's another thing with these plastic things. You want to take them apart as little as you have to, just because of that. I can't see all the way down in there. No, it is just plastic where the threads are, so the less that you are unscrewing these, the better. You can see on these screws, you can see like the green on there. It's because you're like stripping away at that plastic. So unfortunately, I have to strip even more away because I forgot to put a part on. This part gets on there so good, which is good. So, let's see. All right, got that in there. Perfect. If I just only would have looked even a little bit around my work area, I would have noticed. But I forgot to put that in there. Using the right one. To look, see if there's any kind of, I don't know, I think about it like a Loctite or something that you could put in that you're almost kind of rebuilding that thread on plastic. So check that. Be great for these little tools. All right, last one. Again. sprinkling outside a little. All right, that's in. So now, back to putting the tools away. Yeah, so all I used for that extra was only the drill bit, only because I needed to drill up that one screw. Allen wrenches, which I ended up not actually needing. So truthfully, and I used the flashlight, but only because I needed to look in there. Really, the only thing I used were this T15 head and a brush. So, like I said, time will tell if that fix was good. I don't remember what. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Very nice. Okay. No screws left. That's good. So here's that motorcycle that I had on the cover